So I was listening to a podcast, and it informed me of a new form of writing called Assonance, and I learned that of how it works and how each word or words in the entire verse keep following the same verb. So I was listening to the song that I was doing, that I was dissecting, and I listened to the verse that was written in assonance, and I took the lyrics and I listened to them and I copy and pasted them, put them in a notability, and I highlighted each of the words that followed the thing. I don't know what to call it, but 37 out of the 81 words in the verse followed the assonance trait thing, and so I just thought that was pretty cool because it sounds really good. It sounds really smooth when he sings it, or yeah, I just thought it was really cool.
What is the effect of the assonance? What's the purpose?
I'm not really sure the exact purpose or what his intention was, but for me it came off as this really cool way to bend words and still tell a story with all going in following the same track. So he is bending words, because I learned of this thing that a lot of musicians do is they take words that sound similar but don't rhyme, and they bend them and say them in different ways so they do rhyme. He said, "Close your eyes to what you can't imagine. We are the Zani Nation," instead of nation or something like that.
So it's called bending words.
Yeah, bending words.
How would you describe assonance? Can you describe it yet?
I would describe it as a train track of a story. So across the railroads, right, there's each of the little wooden planks, and so each of the wooden planks is a different word, but they all follow the same vowel to tell the same story.
How will this impact your future listening to songs and or analysis?
I'm gonna try to identify more songs or verses that are written in assonance, because I just think it's really interesting the way that they write the words. I have it pulled up right here, and it's just really cool how they how you see words that don't rhyme in here, but if you actually listen to it, then it sounds really good. And if you listen to the dissect episode on it, what he's saying actually has double or triple meanings that are really, really cool, and they're really cool metaphors and stuff like that. And I just thought it was really cool how he can do all of that while also challenging himself by writing it in assonance.
Your talking keeps giving me more questions and more questions. The one that just popped up because you said that, or from what you just said, is how do you think that he got there? How do you get, does the assonance start first? Does the meaning start first? Does his earlier work have meaning but no assonance, or assonance but no meaning?
Well, in any other verse, I've heard this verse is only a feature on his song Super Rich Kids. Is Earl Sweatshirt is featured, and this is Earl Sweatshirt's verse. But in all the other music I've listened to by Earl Sweatshirt, none of it's written in assonance except for this verse. But in my opinion, this is his best verse. I think it's because he's still challenging himself with writing it in a different form that has to follow certain guidelines to be considered assonance. But he's also still telling a story in a debatably more clear form than he would in any other verse.
So if you think it's his best one, would you say that it's because of the assonance? Because he already had the meaning in the other. The deep meaning was there, and the multiple metaphors, or however you said that, was there in the other songs, correct?
Yeah.
But assonance was not there in the other songs.
Yeah. So I think it's the best because he's still conveying an arguably better and more clear story while still challenging himself with writing it in a different, more challenging form.
Okay. Now, So what? What does any of this mean to you?
Well, I just have a new appreciation for his work. Because the first time I heard this, I had no idea what any of this meant. Like, I listened to it probably like 6 times over, trying to figure out what it meant before I searched up the lyrics. And then it was like a verse that I was always curious about. And then when I figured out Dissect had it, it was the first one I listened to. And the way it broke down the words, because I know there are certain musicians who really have a lot of deep meanings in their words. So I knew this wasn't, and I knew he was one of those artists that had deeper meanings. So I knew this wasn't going to be one of those verses where it's just like a whole bunch of words thrown on paper, like that it meant something. But when I listened to it, all I could hear was just words on paper. But then this Dissect helped me break it down into more digestible pieces, and I really learned what it's all about. Like, I didn't know, like, because like what I figured out about the song is that it's all about the struggles that, like, not all rich kids have everything in life, and a lot of them struggle to find real happiness and real love. But everybody always assumes that they always have it because they're rich.
That's a huge lesson. That's something I still talk to my son about, who's 21.
And like at the end of the verse, I saw this line right here. It's, treat us like we can't erupt. I thought that was really cool because it was like one of the only lines that didn't follow in Assonance, but it was also super meaningful. And I think that he knows when to break it out of assonance to convey a really meaningful point, and when to still convey it through regular assonance.
How is this going to impact you as a writer?
I might try out Assonance. It seems really cool.
What's the challenge in it?
The challenge is conveying a story or following the same guidelines while still using one vowel following every word.
I've never done it.
And neither have I.
What got you from the sixth to the seventh time listening? It was the podcast?
No, it was just how good the verse sounded, because the verse sounded good without me knowing what it meant. Mm-hmm. And now that I know what it means, I have a whole new appreciation for it, as well as it sounding good.
How can that relate to life?
It can relate to life because there's a lot of different art forms in life, and there's multiple ways to appreciate it. And like, I know like painted art, like the artists have like, of course they probably, well, I don't know if they appreciate their own artwork, but they make it, and then some people are like, wow, I really appreciate that art, and some people don't know how to appreciate it at all. But me doing this is learning how to appreciate it, so I'm just learning how to appreciate more things.
Any final magical thoughts before I hit pause?
No, I think that's it.